hi, and welcome again to the Terminal Podcast, where in the end, it's all about the numbers. This podcast is looking back to 2018 and the original publication of the rap debut album tournament, or the RDAT. Tonight's episode in the groups bracket is brought to you by our corporate champion, Group Text Message Chats. Remember a time when if you wanted to speak to three or four of your closest friends at the same time, you had to be in the same room? Yeah, neither do I, but I kind of miss it. It was fun. It was nice for a moment. We're down to the final four in the groups category, and clearly this is the group of death. Whether talking about the influence felt across the industry or the quality of music, this is a very intriguing 2-3 matchup we'll talk about later. This is Age Before Beauty, and I've skipped out who I'm talking with, so I'll come back to. So as I'm forgetting all the people that are on the call with me, I'll ask you to introduce yourself and where were you the first time you heard Wu-Tang Clan? Kenny, let's start with you.
Hey, this is Kenny calling in from Atlanta, and I was in the 11th grade the first time I heard Wu-Tang. It was me and my homeboy, and we had the single of Protect Your Neck and Method Man.
Buzz?
Fuzz dialing in from our beautiful nation's capital of Washington, D.C. Um, Specifically, I think I was probably home. Um, where most people, I feel like maybe like Protect Your Neck was like the introduction to Wu-Tang. My introduction was Method Man, like the song Method Man. Um, I think I was home. I was definitely in Washington, D.C., but can't really say where I was. But I think I was home. But my first encounter with Wu-Tang Clan was definitely Method Man, and it was the video. It was definitely seeing the video Method Man.
Yeah. Dan?
Hey, it's Dan. I'm calling in from New Jersey. We would have been, what was it, like sophomore-ish, junior, somewhere in there of high school.
Somewhere
So
around.
I was probably high at that time. And so I can't remember exactly where I heard it, but I know like I know I loved it instantly. It was like one of those like if you wanted to make a thing about stuff that I liked, where it was, kung fu movies and rap music and all that stuff all together, I was like, this is exactly made for me. It felt like so that I don't remember which song, but I just know it was like instantly I was in love.
You mentioned it, and I'm going to unfortunately do Age Before Beauty, the beauty being the Wu. This is a conversation between old people talking about the Wu-Tang, but the oldest album remaining in the RDAT is the album that the Wu-Tang is going against in this 1-4 in the group tournament matchup. Run DMC's self-titled album, Run DMC, was a 4 seed against the 5 seed, which was Beastie Boys' License to Ill. And I wrote the original article literally 8 years and a month ago, looking back. And at that time, I had Jam Master Jay moving on. When I did the podcast for it in the 4-5 matchup, which actually took place a couple years back, I believe Beastie Boys moved on in a 3-0 clear. So Founders versus Finance, the second rap album to be certified platinum, which was Licensed to Ill, they moved on. Anyone know the first certified platinum album? Anyone? Guess? Dan, you want to take a guess?
Certified platinum.
Certified platinum album. First certified platinum rap album.
I wonder if it was like a Fat Boys album, only because they were huge at that moment.
Yeah, it's not, but Kenny,
I'm going to say Rapper's Delight.
he'd say that and be wrong. Fuzz,
Man,
couldn't descript this any better. Go ahead.
I wish you had asked this before, not so I
That's
could Google it, but just so I could think about it.
no.
If License to Ill was the second,
You've been talking about this since before we got on the call.
Raising Hell.
Was by Run DMC. It's their third album. It went platinum multiple times and is considered one of the most important and greatest rap albums of all time. There's
Hmm.
4 singles off of that album. So it's like we're at a red light challenge. 4 singles. Anybody out, we'll call them out, and I'll call them out if you're correct. 4 singles. Go.
It's
My
tricky.
Adidas,
It's
Walk
tricky.
Walk
this
This Way,
way.
Walk this
Peter
way.
Piper.
No.
Mary Mary.
No. Dun, 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 dun. I don't really have any music for a red light. I heard we've got Walk This Way. It's tricky.
I mean, to me, my Adidas, Walk This Way,
That's
or like
3.
You be
that's.
One
illin.
more. And there's the 4th. My Adidas,
What was the
Walk,
fourth?
You Be
You
Illin,
be illin.
Tricky. Those are the
Okay.
4. This album, Raising Hell, came as a result of Joseph Simmons, Daryl McDaniels, and Jason Mizell returning home after touring from their first 2 albums.
No Russell Simmons,
During
or I'm sorry, no Joseph Simmons.
Joseph Simmons, Daryl McDaniels, and Jason Mizell. I
You
didn't
said
say Russell.
Russell.
No, I said Joseph. You might have heard Russell. But
I'm
either
pretty
way,
sure you said
Russell,
Russell.
well, Russell and Joseph, they all got together. And from the first 2 albums, so from the second album, which is,
What was the second?
anybody know the name of the second album?
King of
It's
Rock.
also, it's also one of the 4 singles. So we're at another red light. 3 more singles from it. Anybody go? Dun, dun,
I
dun.
don't even know what the
Anybody?
second album is.
Oh
Exactly.
wow. King of Rock.
Dun, 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 dun,
What was
I
it?
dun,
started Raising
dun,
Hell.
dun, dun, dun. Nope. Dun, 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 dun. You talk too much. Jam Master Jammin', the remix, and Can You Rock It
Went
Like
platinum?
This was their second album. I just said 4 singles from the Rock on the King of Rock
Oh,
album.
singles. Okay.
Just the singles that they dropped from it. And as you said before, as we were
But
talking
what does it
before,
mean if you put it out as a single?
it just means that they went touring on it. They went on tour, and those were one of the 4 songs you heard if you saw them on tour. That they went before they came back and did Raising Hell. They also were doing singles from their first album, the 1984 album, self-titled, as said before, had Rockbox, Rick Rubin's signature mix of sampled rock music that would become his calling card. It's like that. It's like that. Why am I forgetting what the next line is?
And that's the way it is.
And
We
that's the
know the
way it
song.
is.
But it's Raising Hell. It's Raising Hell.
The
Just get
album's
through what you
first
need to get
single
through. It's
is
Raising
like
Hell.
that.
Raising Hell is the
Dropped in
quintessential Run
83.
DMC album.
Yeah.
Okay. In 1983, their first single, Hard Times, anybody remember that?
No.
Yes.
Did you know that Hard Times was originally recorded by Curtis Blow for his 1980 album?
I didn't know it was originally
I did
recorded
not
at
know
all.
that.
The whole thing, but that is the hard, it's called Hard Times, so it's obviously a different take on what everybody's going to hear. The lyrics, according to Billboard's Paul Canton, about the quote type environment they were living in, and brought a dose of reality to rap. uh that was, and I feel like the 80s and into the kind of early 90s, maybe the first couple of years, rap was serving as a window into what was actually happening on the quote street. Uh
The message
random
was.
random
The
question, like the
message.
message, like children's story, like, I mean, I can go through a whole, I mean, there's is that happening now?
No.
Is
No.
anybody
No.
is
Absolutely not.
anybody okay,
Hip hop used to be the most authentic genre there was. Listen, I hate to say it, but I feel comfortable saying it because I'm a teacher and I deal with these little bammers. These kids done ruined hip hop.
Oh yeah, hip hop is horrible now.
so is there, I mean, that's the whole thing. I've heard that J. Cole, who I stopped listening in 2014, I've said it before, so I didn't really hear J. Cole. I have not listened to J. Cole. Is he apparently is the only one who's still really rapping. Is there anybody else? And
I mean,
go
Rock
ahead, Dan.
Marciano, I would argue better than J. Cole. J. Cole's boring.
Like J. Cole is boring. J. Cole, I'm not gonna say J. Cole's trash by any means.
Hmm.
But J. Cole's one of the guys that you say, like, he's nice, he's not like garbage, but he's not my cup of tea at all.
Yeah. But at least the good thing is that this could at least open up conversations about adult contemporary hip hop because LL Cool J, De La Soul, Nas, Slick Rick. A lot of cats been putting out. A lot of old school cats have been putting out some great music recently.
Would the Roots be considered adult contemporary hip hop? And
For
I
sure.
could almost argue
Yes.
that
They were
always
almost
been.
considered that when they dropped.
I was going to say, could they always be considered adult
I
contemporary
mean,
hip hop and
in
everything
my
like that?
mind, I wouldn't argue against it.
I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
so then is there? So I guess I've kind of already asked this. So there's not really anybody else who's not just doing a status report on their wealth and how many girls they bang, what they did in the club last night, which is a part of the music. It's a part of all music
I'll,
in
I,
every genre across rap and classical and hip hop. Everybody's got the same, there's this general similar lane of everybody does this when talking about their musical source, but
I'll, I'll
it's
say
also
the
different.
lines are blurred because I
Mhm.
feel like my favorite adult contemporary hip hop is Griselda, and I don't think everybody considers Griselda adult contemporary hip hop.
But he's adult contemporary uh gangster hip
Oh, I
hop.
can
He's adult
explain it. I can
contemporary.
Yeah.
Okay,
explain it if you
please
want, but
do.
I'm saying I
Oh
don't
no,
think
it actually
everybody
does make
will
sense. It
agree
makes
with me
sense.
though. I don't think everybody will agree with me.
I would agree with that statement because their style is reminiscent of a lot of the adult contemporary
They're
hip hop
90s
artists.
grimy hip hop,
Exactly.
East
So
Coast
yeah,
hip hop.
exactly.
So
But I'm open to people arguing it.
Yeah, I think the line you draw is like if you listen to like De La Soul's newest album and like just like it still sounds like De La Soul, but the subject matter is more adult, right? Like it's them like dealing with the loss of a friend and trying to find joy in life and some other things that are not like because look, I love the '90s. I think Griselda guys are great at that. If you like that stuff, they're doing it great. Again, I think Rock Marciano is another one. If you like that sort of grimy, you know, with a little more contemporary feel to it, like that stuff's great. But like if my vision of adult contemporary is like, are you the people have gotten older? Are you talking about stuff that's a little more relevant to you as a 40 or 50-year-old as opposed to a 20-year-old?
Mm, that's a
so
good point.
Because
and
20-year-old should be talking about Party
Listen,
Eight, right? Like
Yeah.
on my end, I may not have matured.
no, I was
So,
and
like,
I'm
I listen. Admittedly, I don't feel like I have moved there, but I'm willing to admit I'm immature.
so then with that in mind, am I asking too much? Since the Wu were able the Wu really got something here that I know people want to hear. Because I've been waiting to hear it myself. Um, is it too much that the Wu were able to mix both describing their wealth, describing how it was when they went out, but also giving a street side view of what was happening in quote Shaolin at the time, what was going on, how they dealt with, how they dealt with how things were going to be so hard and all that stuff, that they were able to do it all. Am I asking too much for people to at least emulate towards that?
yes, and I'll tell you why. Because the Wu Tang thing is unique and like no one's ever done that many so like why like Wu Tang doesn't get boring is generally because you have a multitude of voices to listen to. So if like a whole album of just Method Man could be great, but after like 15 songs, maybe you're like, all right, it's the
Been
same.
great a couple times.
Yeah.
And
Kind of.
then but like even listening to Wu Tang's debut album, which I've heard probably a million times, like listening to it again today, it still feels cool because you've got all these like that Ghostface verse on that song was awesome, or oh
Yeah,
well, that one was Raekwon killed that one, or all these different things.
yeah.
No one's doing that. Even groups today, like if you have like three or four guys, no one's doing 8, 9 guys anymore, and couldn't. And there's really only like
Yeah.
if you think about Wu Tang, outside of You God, everyone else has like is awesome and like has done multiple amazing things solo wise and individually.
Can I give a shout out to y'all state for a second?
Go ahead.
Sure.
Because there's a group that people really don't like think of in the Wu Tang vein, but they really are, and they had a big influence. So shout out to two of y'all state, the Outsiders. I
Mm,
mean, Eminem was
yeah.
technically an outsider. Rod Digger was an outsider. Like, you had the Artifacts, you had groups, you had Like,
Yeah,
like there's not
And
too
you had
many.
like
Like,
collectives too.
give me another
that kind of.
collective that is as similar to
Native
Wu Tang
tongue,
as like
maybe
the
I was
something like
gonna
that.
Outsiders.
say, but the outsiders come after the Wu,
No, for
right?
sure.
I'm not saying like I'm just saying
I'm just saying
chronologically.
they're
I'm saying
similar. They're
chronologically
more
speaking. Oh yeah,
similar.
yeah, yeah,
When people want to
definitely.
talk about like a similar situation, nobody brings up the Outsiders.
No,
That's fair.
I guess, and the argument would be because you kind of need to know the outsiders. You know what I mean? It's like I don't know how many people besides this, and I feel like I don't know if it's because we're old or just knowledgeable about the music or not, but it's like we all know the outsiders, but outside of us,
I
how
mean,
much
regardless
more?
of who knows them, can you give me a collective where they had similar people? They were all on different record labels, but they were able to come together and do something under one record label. Because really, if you want to get down to the nitty gritty, that is Wu Tang's legacy.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
I
I
mean,
would
and
There's
definitely.
also it's their branding from the beginning,
hmm
but like that's like that they captured so many different things at once. You had all the voices, you had the branding, you had this like framing of Shaolin stuff. So like they could always weave back into like kung fu analogies, and so like they had all this different stuff that made it just so them that like you can't copy that. Like I can't think anybody else who has that same mix of like instantly recognizable brand, interesting framing that they can make they're still talking about gangster stuff, but like it's still the way they talk about it is not always as straightforward direct. They have this like mystic 5%er plus kung fu thing going on,
Absolutely.
and then
And
you have
and
all the
and,
different guys.
and even with the Kung Fu, also the biggest contribution we always kind of tend to forget about is the nicknames. No one was doing that at that time. The AKA Johnny Blaze,
Right,
Lex Diamonds, Tony Starks,
right.
Mhm.
you know.
and
Then all of a
that's just
sudden
that
Frank
side.
White came out and all that other stuff. But yeah, I mean, there are countless contributions that Wu Tang made to hip hop.
Hence why
Yeah.
we are discussing the RDAT's overall number two seed. And I've said this throughout this whole thing. I break down the way it views tournament wise. I view this as a Princeton Penn. If you want to go the 2026 version, it's the Miami of Ohio. The well, no, it's not because Miami of Ohio is just an undefeated team that should be in the tournament. Well, I could argue that that's Run DMC. They're an unde that's an just off of the foundational blocks that are created from Run DMC releasing that album and them being able to go on tour and blah 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 is like going undefeated. Even though you're playing a bunch of cupcakes. There's not much there. There's not much to it. I can't even listen to that album. I listen to the Wu Tang album, and I'm listening to it. I'm vibing. I'm like, but this is still really slow. The pace of it is just the overall in terms of the BPMs. It's really a slow album, but it still works. So it doesn't make a difference. But that was back in the 90s. Because
Can I
back in the 90s,
interject
oh please go ahead.
before we move on? I just want to say that
That far wrong.
like when we're labeling like Wu Tang like street shit, which you know what I'm saying, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But to me, like, here's the thing. I could go on about Method Man for days. I said that was my first, Wu Tang experience. But the thing that Method Man so eloquently said that I hesitate to be like they're really, really like going, all the way with the street life is Method Man said he hated selling crack. And I don't know anybody else who took that side of the, we could say, the whole drug industry. Is that Wu Tang is always maintained a level of honesty, a level of reality, and I think
Yeah.
like one of the things to me that speaks to that is the forefront of Method Man saying that like yeah he did that but he hated selling it. Selling drugs is very stressful. It's
Mm.
very stressful, and you rarely hear a rapper go to that side of things when it talks about getting money, selling drugs, whatever you want.
Yeah.
Method Man was I can't think of anybody else that said, yeah, I sold crack, but I hated selling crack because that shit was stressful.
That's a
For
good point. That's a very good point because there was always in certain songs there was a lot of regret. And not just from meth, from Inspector Deck, even Ray and Ghost regret about having to sell drugs. So
I
that's a
mean, we
very
can
good
say
point.
the whole like the sample after the laughter comes what?
After,
After the
yeah,
tears. Yeah.
come
The
the tears.
tears.
Yeah.
I
It's
And Meth
Cream
really
basically
struck that
like that
chord. He
too.
was like, yeah, we sold crack, but I hated that shit. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Like
Because you
how
can
many
hear
people are
traces
that
about that.
honest? Everybody wants to act like, yeah, I sold crack. I was the best crack dealer ever. Meth was like, listen, I sold crack. That shit sucked. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
for those that don't know, crack was a form of cocaine. That was I could go into the whole thing about it, but crack was big in the 90s. And back in the 90s,
No, crack's
it
still big.
came out, well, crack's not as well, yeah, but there's a whole
No,
separate
but it's
in
still
terms of
big though.
in terms of being big and prominent
Not the
when people
epidemic it
Listen, it's not the
was.
90s.
yeah,
It's not the 90s, but
well, now
listen,
it's
I could go outside right now. I wouldn't have to walk too far to find a crackhead.
you're cutting off my line, which is to say back in the 90s, the Wu-Tang came out and they sold your asshole clothes. But this was just like the game I was trying to talk about before, the basketball, because I'm half sports, half rap. Princeton Penn, that's Beastie Boys Run DMC. They're facing Kentucky. And this is Kentucky back when John Calipari would just keep feeding you with talent like Ron Mercer and Mark Pope and Antoine Walker and Jamal Washburn and Jeff
Tony
Shepard
Delk.
and Walter McCarthy and Tony Deck. They just kept feeding you with these stars and studs. The 95, 96 team, a lot of people that I just named are on that team. Those were the Untouchables. And if I take Rick Pitino, because that's actually what it was. It was Pitino back in the 90s.
Okay.
As Pitino's the RZA,
Yes.
you match up other players from that 96 team to Wu-Tang members. Now, this is what, if anything's going to take a while. I just did it really quick. I went with Antoine Walker as Method Man because there were mad different ways that he could do his thing. When he got busy, he could go inside, he could go outside, he could shoot threes. He was that. Tony Delk, because he was, and I'm going into method styles of saying it, but Tony Delk was just quality. He was solid. He was going to give you, he was going to run your point. He was going to run it like Raekwon was just going to give you a quality verse, and you was not going to be worried about him. Walter McCarthy, that's Ghostface. Jizza, that's Ron Mercer because he was real quiet and slept on. And Mark Pope, that's the old dirty bastard because ain't no father to his style. That's Mark Pope. Anybody got anything, Dan? You got any thoughts on trying to match up Wu members to those Kentucky that Kentucky team? All those guys. Good grief.
Yeah, I mean, Antoine Walker's got to be either Raekwon or Ghostface, which is just like awesome. I feel like more traditionally awesome, just like they're great.
Mm.
Not in a way that you have to explain much. It's like they're just great. Um, I think like I'm looking at this roster right now. Who would be Nazi Muhammad?
He's their center. You know what? I'd almost make him be like Inspector Deck because he was quiet, but he was still, he was still grabbing like 8, 10 rebounds a night. So it's not like that was changing. So
And I'm like projecting it like like he had a very nice NBA career. Like he nothing to be ashamed of for what he played a
You
long
know,
time.
any you
looking at
got
this
any
roster, it's amazing just how many of them actually did make it to the association. Wow.
Buzz, you got any thoughts on matching up Wu members to that 96 team?
Well, here's the thing. I thought I had two, but I essentially have three now.
Okay.
Let me start with my latest realization, and I'll go with Walter McCarty as Papa Wu.
Mm.
Because
Okay.
even when Walter McCarty was in college, he looked old as fuck.
True. That is true.
He
So,
did.
so I'm gonna give
He
Walter
did look a
McCarty
bit
Papa Wu,
funny.
and then
He
I'll
did look
move
a
to
bit
the ones
funny.
I thought about.
Mm-hmm.
Similar to what's already been said, I will give Antoine Walker Raekwon.
Okay.
So Antoine Walker, I'll I'll say like this: Antoine Walker's, I'll say he's the best of the bunch, possibly in college and the pros. I'll say definitely in the pros. Antoine Walker did his thing. Antoine Walker also never really garnered like the respect of being one of the best on that team.
Fair.
or on the Celtics. When we were in college,
Yeah.
Antoine Walker carried the
Skated on.
Celtics. He didn't carry him
Skated on.
anywhere, but
You
he
ain't take him
carried them.
anywhere.
He
Yeah.
carried them though. He was the best on the Celtics.
He was fun
Nobody
to
cared.
watch.
Yeah.
So I give that Raekwon because Raekwon is definitely one of the best out of the Woo. I love Raekwon, and I struggle to think of a single Woo song where Raekwon had the best verse. And that's kind of like Antoine Walker to me. Like,
You say
we'll give
that.
it that he's one of the best, and he really might have been carrying them at times, but we can't really pinpoint when he was the best.
You say that. I'm
Beyond that,
sitting
I'll
there
go
trying
with
to race
Ron
through.
Mercer being Inspector Deck.
Okay.
Ron Mercer, like if Ron Mercer was nice, nobody can say he's not nice. Ron Mercer was, I mean, if you really break it down, possibly had the potential to be better than Antoine Walker. Might be an argument that, like, if you really watch, he could be more skilled. But nobody talks about Deck being one of the best. But Deck, you want to talk about, if you want to talk about possibly the best Wu-Tang verse, you got to talk about Deck for a couple verses.
Tough like Timberland wear gear. Yeah. No, is that
I
that?
mean,
I want to say.
beyond, what was it? Victory? Not Victory.
Triumph.
Triumph. But
And
I'll
even
give him For
Protect Your
Heaven's
Neck.
Sake.
I was
For
gonna say I
Heaven's
was.
Sake is a wild, nice Deck verse. Like, For Heaven's Sake is, I don't know why people don't talk about Deck on For Heaven's Sake. My rap style swing like Willie Mays. My eyes purple haze. Come on.
Yeah.
Well, if you wanted to keep the metaphor going, it's probably because Inspector Deck never really did like the solo star thing.
He
He
did
was
one solo album.
and you know it's not one that if you like ranked all of the solo
But
projects from Wu-Tang members, it's not up in the top 7.
he did do Deck had the duo with as much as I hate to say it, it was either 7L or Esoteric from Boston. And it was
I know
what's
exactly
the
what you're sitting
group
there
with
talking about.
Deck and Esoteric or 7L? Czarface.
That was a mix of. I'm
That's
trying to think of
way
the two
past like
sounds that
in their
was.
prime, but Czarface
Yeah.
is valid. Like Deck, I mean Czarface did joints with Ghostface and MF Doom.
All right, now I'm thinking something. All right.
Yeah, which is again what's one of those like if you know type things. I mean, I think like even especially back then, like a casual basketball fan would know Antoine Walker.
Oh, I'm
A
not saying
casual
people
basketball
know.
fan
I'm just
maybe
saying it
would
was
not know
nice.
Ron Mercer.
Czarface was
Right. So
nice.
like
Where
Ron
he was
Mercer,
going back to
like
it. Go ahead.
you know,
You were saying it.
like I said, like Ron Mercer was okay, but you can't complain about him. But like a casual basketball fan at that time did not know Ron Mercer, where they would have known Antoine Walker, and so it doesn't necessarily mean that he was better or worse, but like
No,
sometimes you get that individual shine that like
But was
then
Deck
casts the
lesser
big
known
glow
than
backwards.
Raekwon? Deck didn't hold the weight Raekwon did. That's why I give Antoine Walker Raekwon and
Right.
Ron Mercer Deck.
as
I
I
was
said,
I was
You
I was
can't
agreeing.
tell
I
me
was carrying the metaphor
there
forward.
weren't times that Ron Mercer looked nicer than Antoine Walker.
all right, we could be in the
Absolutely.
barbershop going back and forth about who's what and what's who off of this, which is why I wanted to bring it in because I thought it was interesting. And going back to the barbershop, Run DMC, they set the foundation for rap to evolve from just being in front of the barbershop and break dance as part of someone break dancing and on a cardboard box and being on the street corners and everything like that. The street music that was to something, this is Run DMC, from that to something that could be played on radio stations and eventually MTV. And they are the foundation of that. Everybody, any steps in rap, as far as I'm concerned, you start by walking on Run DMC. Just jump with. So, what foundation did the Wu create? Anything?
That is an
Yeah.
interesting question. It's an interesting question because you're right. Like there's like a distinct line of like before Run DMC and after Run DMC and what rap music sounded like. With before it was all that like disco adjacent, just like kind of party music. This sounded a lot different, hit a lot different, and influenced everything that came after it.
They toured the world on it. They signed a sneaker deal off of it. I mean,
No, for sure. So
Right.
Run
So it's
DMC,
it's
if we're
huge.
talking making the music mainstream, it's Run DMC. If you're talking about being able to maximize your money on the business side of things, we're talking about Wu Tang. If you want to talk about making money as far as corporate sponsorship, my Adidas. There was nothing that did that before my Adidas.
hmm So what else? Go ahead.
So I mean, in that end, but to me, my Adidas was on what album?
It was on Raising
Raising
Hell. Yeah.
Hell.
No, I'm not. Look,
Right.
no one's
And you
doubting
want
it.
to
Hence
talk
why
about crossing genres, the first to make it
Walk This
viable
Way.
to
Just
really
Walk This Way.
collab with somebody who wasn't hip hop, that was Walk This Way. What album
Yeah.
was that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No
Although
one is
And on
doubting.
top of
I
that,
thought
they
I
made
But that's
said
what I'm
Aerosmith
saying.
earlier.
The
relevant
two
again.
things that Run DMC did, like if you want to talk about it, is Raising Hell. Like if we talking about Run DMC, the self-titled album, versus Wu Tang, Wu Tang's gonna destroy them.
Yeah.
But if you want to put
Like
Raising
Kentucky
Hell
versus an
against
Ivy
Enter the
League champion.
36, we have a fight.
Well, but that's not the tournament. It's you're entering off of your debut album and Run
So
as
hold
an
on though,
Ivy League
because
champion.
let's let's
As an
let's
Ivy League
let's back up.
champion, Run would qualify for the
Let's back
tournament.
up. When I brought this up
hmm
before offline, you said, "Hey, bring it up."
Yeah, and we just had
Now
a
you're
whole
saying
conversation
it's
about
not
Raising Hell.
in line with what we're
We
talking about.
we just talked about Raising Hell and the music from it for about 10, 15 minutes. And now I'm asking the same way Run DMC set up that foundation. You did make a fair point, which is Wu, as far as taking the money you're making from this music and being able to hold on to it and
We'll open the
multiply it
doors to
and
do
turn it
things
into
business
other things
wise in
like
hip
that.
hop nobody's
Yeah,
done.
yeah, Wu-Tang
But
Financial.
so has Run DMC. But Run DMC
Yes.
did it with Raising
You
Hell,
maybe you
not with
missed
their
the point.
debut.
I wasn't talking. I would say Run DMC. Period. I'm just saying. I'm talking about what did Wu. What has Wu created as a foundation? Period. What
I
since Wu Tang?
I
I think
Has
just
that?
production. I
said,
think
I just
production.
said
I
we
would say
have we have
production.
we have we have multiple Run DMC and Wu Tang opening different types of business doors.
Okay.
But my thing is, you told me to talk about this, and now you tell me not to talk about it.
Yes, and I'll stick with that. Go ahead, Kenny.
I would say production because a lot of producers now, it's like when you look at like Kanye and everybody else, they were really inspired by Wu Tang because they was sampling, would come in with the R&B sped up samples. They were sampling Gladys Knight and Jerry Butler and other type of artists and speeding up those samples. So I think about the contributions to production and how producers go about selecting samples.
It got muddy. Wu
Candy,
Tang
I'll
made it
add one
muddy.
thing too.
good.
The Wu Tang as like as a self-contained unit, right? Because the RZA driving all that from like they did the production, they did the business deals, they had all the rappers. That foundation was never quite done like that before, and I think that opened a lot of eyes for people to do that post. It wasn't the seismic like sound shift that Run DMC had. Like Run DMC sounded like nothing quite like it before, and then afterwards influenced a lot of what it sounded like for you know the next 5 6 years of rap music. When Wu Tang was coming out, like their sound was unique, but there was so many other great things coming out at the same time that like it's not like everything sounded like Wu Tang after that because there was other things to be inspired by. So I think it was more about like the
Business
foundation of
side of
like
it, which
there's
is you.
this
Yeah.
he's auteur, but also like the auteur thing. Like he like they had this vision of what this should sound like, and like as an art like as a true artist, as opposed to just like it wasn't like pop music product like it wasn't like Vanilla Ice pop music production or even Hammer, right? Like we're like that's I mean there's a place for pop music, but it wasn't like those guys had this grand artistic vision. They
Hey,
linked up with
I'm
other
not
people.
going to.
They created something that was popular. The Wu Tang had this vision of, I mean, again, like of what they wanted to sound like, what they wanted to embody, what they wanted the next 5 to 10 years of their career to look like that. I think was eye opening because they did it in a way that was not like it. No one had done that quite like that in hip hop yet.
Wu Tang did more visually.
Me too. All right. And I just want to say as a note to Mr. Hammer, I think that everything that you've done musically was great. I think everything that was great. So he
Right.
was
We don't
great.
want no
The
static.
whole
No,
style,
I definitely know about
everything
that hammer.
about it.
This was
I'm lost.
I have no disrespect to pop music and his success
Oh,
and
I
his
can
personal.
disrespect pop music all you
I
want,
like
but
him and everything about his family. Never said a bad word.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't want no problems.
Hammer's real.
I don't
Hammer's
Are
want
we
real.
talking about
no.
MC Hammer?
Yes.
Why?
Yes.
I need to
There's a
know how he came
Hey,
in.
hey, no, you
After
don't.
this podcast, there's
You would,
go to YouTube. There's a video of Redman talking about when MC Hammer and his crew pulled up on him.
Oh no, I mean that's
Yeah.
established.
Oh yeah.
that's
And
my point.
also
So I'm
yeah,
not trying
we
to.
just
No,
yeah, we don't want no
But
I
where
brought
problems.
it
did
up
that come
before.
in?
No,
Like we
It
know
was
MC
me.
Hammer is not to be played with, but
Yeah.
No,
why
yeah,
is
I
that?
that's
brought it
all.
up as like a contrast to Wu
He
Tang,
was
like
just
where
saying that.
he was doing pop music. Wu Tang was doing more of like an artistic vision. So I just drew
I
the contrast. But
I
Martin
just
wanted to
wanted to
make sure
let
we weren't.
I just want to let
Yeah.
MC know that
Martin
Yeah.
I
certainly,
don't want no smoke. That's all. I
but
just
it
want
was
no
no
smoke.
Yeah.
insults.
We don't want Hammer pulling up on this podcast. We don't want
Nothing like that.
that.
Nothing like that.
Right.
All right. Uh, we've Raising Hell is one of the greatest hip hop albums of all time, but there are still a couple of skip tracks that are in there. They've got classics, but it's not every track classic.
There's skip
Unlike
tracks on
Enter,
36 Chambers
ooh, well, before we get to that, I'm just going to ask. So, what's your top three tracks from it?
from
15 tracks.
36.
Your top three from 36. Go ahead.
It might sound cliche, but
Mhm.
I'm number one. I'm gonna go with Method Man,
Okay.
and I'm gonna tell you why. Like,
Well, I don't got to don't tell me why, because I got other people I got to ask.
no,
So,
okay, cool. Method Man. Um, I mean, Cream. You have to, as corny as it sounds. Um, shit. No, like if I could look at the track list and I'd have it like that, but
that's all right. Dan, you got well.
I
Actually,
can't
Dan, you got
go
your.
to the track list
You,
and
I
right
got my
you
three.
can
I
you
got
can
my
come
three.
back. Kenny, go ahead. What's your three?
All right. We got Mystery of Chess Boxing, Shame on You Know What, and Cream.
All right. Fuzz, you had.
I'm holding
Mine's
with my
pretty
two.
similar.
Let me hear his. He might have one for me.
Yeah,
Yeah, Dan.
mine's Mystery of Chess Box and Protect Your Neck and Cream are my three.
I'll go Protect Your Neck, Cream, Method Man.
All right.
Method
You
Man,
said there
like
was. You said there were
I'm
skip
mad. I'm the
tracks.
only one that said Method Man.
You said there were skip tracks.
There are skip tracks on Wu Tang. On
Well,
Enter the 36 Chambers, there's skip
you
tracks.
you have. You guess you don't have it listed in front of you, so you can't think of.
Listen, I look. I mean, if you run down but
Oh, you want me to go name
I
for
don't
name all
think
the
I can
songs?
pull up the track listing now on my phone and check it out. But
Bring the ruckus. Shame on a clan in the front. Let your feet stomp. Wu Tang Seventh Chamber. Can it be all so simple? And then you get the intermission. Um,
I mean, right now
Mystery.
you said 4 or 5. Like I'm not saying
Really?
they're bad tracks, but they're
Okay.
not what I want to listen to when I'm listening to my like
But I'm
best
saying
Wu
if
Tang
you,
tracks.
yeah, well, not well. That's your top three. But if you put this
Like Wu
on
Tang
and you're
Forever
going,
provides me with as many, and I mean,
well, that's a whole separate conversation. Okay.
But when I was listening to this again,
but if
we
we
were
want
talking
to
about
talk
before,
old dirty, my shit is dog shit. There's nothing on 36 Chambers that fucks with dog shit.
I'm confused. So I'm gonna
That's
go ahead,
yeah,
Dan. You were saying,
I
that's
was going to say like
interesting.
the thing is there was nothing on this. Listening to it from beginning to end, which again I hadn't done in a while, but did to prepare for this. There was nothing that was like, I get me out of this song. Like even the
yeah,
ones that I don't like as much as the others, like there was nothing that was like the equivalent of like some of the DJ tracks you get from like those 80s albums, right? Like where it's like,
Right.
all right, I get why they did it. I don't need to hear that. And like that the
it
Run
has.
DMC album
Well,
I mean, a
has
skip
stuff
track
like
does
that,
not equate to a trash track at all. It's
Yeah.
just not.
hmm
It's not
some of
something I
them.
want to listen to every time.
Exactly. I might not want to hear it at this moment.
Yeah,
Like
I'm not
some of
saying
them,
Bring
there
the
were
Ruckus,
trash
for
tracks on
example.
36 Chambers.
yeah.
I'm saying there were skip tracks.
I would say
Yeah.
Bring the Ruckus is the one where it's like if not for the fact that it's the first track and you get the whole, and the open is the part that the whole that.
All right.
Do you think you're working so it could? Yeah, I mean, like that as the entrance of Bring the Ruckus, kind of like, all right, well, I can't skip this, but yeah, it's built to be listened to start to finish. It is the number two overall. It is going past Run DMC or Beastie Boys, whichever way you want to play it. They're moving on. As I said, this is the group of death. Um, this is the fourth quarter because I'm kind of closing down in the sense of this matchup's decided. Announcers and fans, as everybody, would start looking ahead to the Elite Eight, the potential Elite Eight opponent. And on the other side of the bracket, hence why I said the group's bracket is the group of death. And I'm just going to ask just your favorite. Most Def and Talib Kweli are Black Star versus super playalistic Cadillac Funky Music. That's the 2-3. So off jump, Kenny, who you got?
I'm going with Black Star.
Fuzz?
Outcast.
Dan?
You know, it's a personal preference is Black Star, but I mean, Outcast is probably the more influential album of the two.
All right, well, it's quick take, but here's what you could think about this one. Which of these two albums has had their title either forgotten or messed up or mispronounced or just changed to something else that was easier? Who do you think's had it done more?
Outcast or
Outkast or Most Def and Talib Kweli are Black Star? Because
I mean,
that's the name of the album.
for what it's worth,
Yeah.
I'll say Most Def and Talib Kweli, but I don't know. I'll say this and then I'll be done. Like Atlanta has become one of the most influential hip hop rap cities of modern times.
Mhm.
And I hesitate to think of anybody who put Atlanta on the map more than Outkast.
True. But that doesn't mean that people have said that name of their first album correctly. That's
I still I feel
yeah.
people mess up the Black Star album more than it's not that hard to say Southern playalistic Cadillac music.
No. Dan, there was a funky in there that you missed, but go ahead, Dan.
No, in the song, but not the album.
Yeah, in the song they say that, but not in the album.
I think people don't know that Black Star album is called Most Def and Talib Kweli are Black Star. Where like I think you can, you know, it's not the what's the Isaac Hayes song that's like even longer than what the Outcast album is.
Oh.
So it's not that.
Hot Buttered
So
Soul.
it's off that. It's much longer. So that so I think you can say the Outcast one. I think people get confused on the Black Star one.
Well, I'm not going to confuse anybody or ask another question about an Outkast song, which is somewhat
Body Howdy Dopalicious.
no, I was going to say it was an album. It was a song that's happening now, but that's neither here nor there. Let's go to the trivia question. I talked about the Untouchables, the 95-96 team that I mentioned earlier. You guys have already looked it up, so you're probably just going to get this right away, which is fine. I'm just going to talk about that team real quick. They lost only twice, and kind of like the Wu with their 9 members, Master Killer and You God are their quality losses. Okay, like the 2 suffered by Kentucky. So the first loss is in November at the Palace in Auburn Hills in their second game of the season. They lose
Michigan?
They lose 92-82 to Marcus Camby, Carmelo Travieso, and
Why is UMass playing at the Palace?
Oh, UMass.
Why is
Exactly.
UMass playing at the Palace?
Because it was an opening season tournament on ESPN. They won't lose again until the SEC championship game. They lose by 11 to Dante Jones, Eric Dampier, and the
Mississippi State.
No,
State.
Wow.
no, no, no.
yes,
They didn't lose to Eric Dampier.
dude,
Eric
it was
Dampier was a
SEC.
beast in
Yeah, he was
college.
a beast. Those guys were
When?
crazy.
Yeah.
When?
So was Dante Jones.
So was Dante
Yeah.
Jones. Dante Jones, Eric Dampier, both eventually drafted to the NBA. Those Wildcat team, the Untouchables, and if you've looked at their roster, you've heard us talk about them. How many from that national championship team heard their names called and walked to the podium after that season? Kenny,
I'm going to go with 4.
Fuzz,
In the first 2 rounds?
sure.
5.
Dan,
Just after that season or all time?
from that national championship Wildcat team, the following NBA draft, how many got drafted?
No, let me go 6. 6.
I'm gonna go 3.
3, 4, 6 are the numbers. Thanks for listening. However, whether it's on Spotify, Apple, or Pandora, you can watch my latest additions and images that I'll try to add to this video and every other episode at youtube.com/@terminalpod. It's the channel for all your questions. The answer to tonight's trivia question will be in the description. Dan, Kenny, and Fuzz, thank you very much. Yeah, woo. I don't know what else to say. I'll be back soon enough with hopefully something better to put down. Take it easy down your life's highway and have a good evening.